stands for your destruction. He revokes your existence. Her only salvation is written in ash. Submit, Plagueborn. Rise. Destruction!
Without a real cause, and soon without a head.
Nothingness approaches. Thorngrid! Marked for death! Traveler's Bane! Thorngrid!
I found the trick. It won't save you.
Alright, so I've finished most of the game now.
Go on.
I want to get the shortcuts to Atlas 3. So for the 40 points here, I've done all pinnacle bosses. I've killed the Arbiter on normal mode. I haven't really been bothered trying the hard mode yet. And this build has been a blast. So I decided to just do a more in-depth guide this time around, now that I've been experimenting a little bit with the tree, and now I'm starting to feel like this is what I want it to look like. So, we start off with the starter part. What is this build? How does it work? This gem was released in this patch, the Tawhoa Tending, which supports totems. In this case, our Shockwave totem. And it says that the totems have 50% more maximum life, and totems created by supporter skills trigger Tawhoa's Vengeance on death. If we check Tawhoa's Vengeance, it states that it explodes for 10% of the totem's maximum life as physical damage when it dies. How do we make the totems explode? There are 3 criteria for the totems to die. It's 1, they get to 0 life. 2, they expire throughout the 12 seconds base time. Or 3, you summon over the limit. Limit is a mechanic in this game which applies to some skills, such as orbs and totems, that you can generally only have 1 of them. There are ways you can increase this, and by totems, you can play Warbringer. This Warbringer has a node that grants you +1 to totems. You have +1 here on the tree, and also have +2 on my weapons in total. But would that let me summon up to 4 totems? Theoretically, yes. But I also use the Greatwood totem. Greatwood 2 support, sorry. Which states that you gain up to 20% of effect, 60% maximum life, and 60% more damage with the totems. So if I were to remove this, 1, 2, 3, 4 totems up at a time. So the limit is 4. And that's exactly what you want for Greatwood, to benefit the most of it. So now, whenever we summon a totem, and we summon a new one, the old one dies, explodes, and we just keep on resummoning it. How do we scale the damage? Tawhoa states that it's a totem AoE physical. So there's no attack damage, there's no spell damage, it's just totems. So on the tree, we scale as much totem life, totem damage, and totem placement speed as possible from all the totem wheels on the tree. So it's this node here, 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 and all the way up here. On every single jewel slot, we get totem placement speed, physical damage or totem damage, both fine, and totem life. So, how else do we scale it? Well, gem levels. Gem levels increases the base life of the Shockwave totem. And I'm currently at level 39. You can get up to level 40 at most. So the only upgrade I have left to do is 6-link a gem and then corrupt the 4+1. That's the only upgrade I have left to do on this build, and the build is complete. And for every level, it gains base life. Base life is then multiplied by the increased life on the tree. Like, where is the increased life? Up here we have a few. 24%, 30%, and a few down here. So, 24%, 24%, you get the point. Then that is multiplied by more modifiers, in this case 60% more and 50% more, resulting in a totem with currently, where is it? Where to remove this? 40,000 life. So if I slap on this totem, well, the support, it jumps up to 60,000, so it's 20,000 more. And this one will increase it by another 60%. But it's not calculated because you can't really count a limit. So 60,000 life times 1.6. So it's like, what is that? 90 to 100,000 life on the totem. And explodes for 10% of that as base damage. But since we're scaling gem levels, the Shockwave totem cost is really really massive. 378 mana. Which means if I just spend this, you see my life goes down to 0 very quick. And even though I have some regen and I also have time of need, it's not enough to sustain it. So how do we sustain this? By supporting the totem with Font of Blood, which states that allies in Blood's font leech life equal to 10% of physical damage dealt by supported totems. Since we're dealing 50 to well over 100,000 damage per hit, and Leech in Path of Exile 2, you can have multiple instances of Leech on top of you. And since you're summoning totems 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 times a second, that's 5 Leech instances of 12% of your damage. You are leeching for literally thousands of life every second, as long as you are inside this AoE when it explodes. The best part of this is that you can summon the totem on top of you, right next to an enemy, and when you're leeching now, you can aim at the edge of the screen, start summoning totems around you for like a split second, and then back to you in case there's an enemy who has jumped to you, and start leeching again, and then you get back up to shooting all around you, back to the middle. The last support gem, well, the last 2 support gems I use on this build is Brutality 3, which is for more physical damage, and chance to ignore enemy physical damage reduction. It's something. And the last one, you get to choose what you want. You either use Armor Break, so you break the armor, dealing more physical damage. Use Magnified Area to increase the font of blood and the explosive area of effect by 35%. Or you use the Efficacy 2 to lower the cost of the skill. Me personally, I don't like spending 378 life, considering we are also using blood magic, I forgot to mention that. So, I'd rather spend, how much life is that? 100 to, no, it's still 300. Oh yeah, cost multipliers, I forgot to mention those. Yeah, so that's gonna increase the cost of the skill significantly, so 50% more, 20% more, 10% more. So yeah. I'm already spending 300 life here, and if I remove that, I'm spending almost 600. 600 life in this build is quite a bit. But as you might see, we're using 200 weapons, which means we have no shield, we have no block. So how do we solve our defenses? We are stacking armor with the new mechanic Armor applies to elemental damage. So what you want is as much armor as you can on your body armor, as much armor as you can get on your boots, gloves, and helmet, with some life nodes on these as well. Since we're playing Titan, we get 50% more armor from equipped body armor, which is multiplied by the increase that exists on the tree. In this case, we have 80% increased armor here, and if you want, you can anoint this Ancient Aegis for another 60%, which is then also multiplied by the 50% more armor. My armor alone jumps me from 21,000 to 5,000 armor, straight up. This is like all my armor, and it's not even perfect yet. To max it out, I need 2 more T1s here, and 3 open sockets for even more increased armor with the runes. So there are still improvements to make here. Another annoying part in this build is of course stuns, because if you're stunned, you can't summon the totems. So in this case, I anointed Polished Iron, which grants me stun threshold equal to 30% of item armor on equipped armor items. So we get even more base stun threshold based on life and on armor at the same time. And then I increase it with this to basically make me almost stun immune. There are a few bosses that will stun me, well, minus stun me from time to time, but it happens much less frequently, which is a pretty solid thing. Other defenses, as you might see, as we are using Leech, we grab this node right here, which grants us more physical damage, but also increased amount of life leached. And a note next to that, life leech is not removed when unreserved life is spilled. Since leech only lasts for a second, that feels kind of scuffed, that, well, we'll get out to full life and then it stops. So with this, we can keep the life topped off all the time, even when we're casting 5 times a second. And to increase the duration of leech, we grab this wheel here, which grants a slower life leech, so it lasts longer, and it feels a lot better that way. So, what does this build actually bring to the table? It grants us a one-button, giga easy point-and-click gameplay. Literally just Tawhoa Totem around, walk around a bit, Tawhoa Totems, and keep on going. Pretty much infinite life leech. No need for mana sustain since we're leeching life and everything costs life. We are almost unimmune. Really cheap to get going. Because you can easily just go with +6 maces with reduced attribute requirements. And summon extra totem, you should be able to easily find them on the market. And then you just use a physical essence, which grants us the 30% of damage as extra physical damage. It's a 66% chance that it will hit, considering we have a desecrated mod. But +6 maces are really cheap, so you can just buy them as they are. If you want to craft it, I would recommend finding a base with as high reduced attribute requirements as possible, slam it with Essence of Battle, and pray that it won't hit the reduced attribute requirements. So it's an RNG craft, unfortunately. But that will give you +6 to all melee skills. And then I'm gonna pause the video now because I need to look up this modifier, desecrated mods. Melee, totems. Here it is. So now bring this over here. The Ulamans prefix. Melee attack skills have +1 to maximum numbers of summon totems. So Ulaman. If we go to Angie and just search for Ulaman. Oh? Man. There it is. Omen of Summon. It says that next time we use a desecrated item, as in the jawbone, and have that omen on, it will guarantee a Ulaman prefix in this case, as long as you have an empty prefix open. And you can also use, in case you wouldn't hit it, which should be fairly easy, we have the slightly more expensive Omen of Echoes, which allows us to re-roll the options at least twice. That way you should be able to hit the totem mod. And then you use the essence of extra physical perfect essence of abrasion. And pray that you actually hit it. So that's the way you can craft it, but not perfectly with +7. That will be a +6. The rest of the gear, gloves, you want +2 all melee skills, resistances, armor, life. Boots, movement speed, armor, life. Amulet, melee skills, armor, and increased armor from equipped body armor is pretty big. The increased armor from equipped body armor is a Amanamu's modifier. So just like I told you with the weapons,
Can I help?
if we just go here, say Amanamu, Omen of Leech. So use that when you desecrate the amulet. That way it will guarantee a Amanamu modifier. You use the Omen of Abyssal Echoes to re-roll in case it wouldn't land. So, yeah. armor, life, melee skills, resistances. Helmet, armor, life, resistances. And on as many pieces as possible, you want percentage of armor also applies to elemental damage. Preferably you want to go over, well, slightly over 100%, since most of the attacks in this game actually deal elemental damage. So, with almost 22,000 armor, we are negating about 85% of most elemental attacks from normal enemies. Bosses and ram monsters have way increased damage on their slams, so whenever you hear this doo-doo noise when you're fighting a boss, the red telegraphed attacks, I wouldn't recommend trying to face tank it yet. I would probably face tank it if you have like 40,000 armor, but I don't at the moment, and I don't really want to invest more into armor. Sure, I could get like maybe 30,000 if I spent the rest of my points up here into Ancient Ages, maybe. So that way I might be able to face tank one big slam. But as you saw in the intro showcase, I was face tanking most stuff. But I'm very cautious about I'm very cautious about monster slam skills in general, because that will kill you, and at level, well, sometimes it will kill you, and at level 94, that's kinda scary. Rings, life resistances, chaos resistances, that's about it. Belt, life resistances, some strength, if you can, armor. So, what doesn't this build actually bring to the table? Well, you can't level with it as a starter, because this gem requires level 65 to use. And you also need to find it, which means it's not SSF viable. You can buy this very cheap from Manji. What's it called now again? It's called Tawhoa. And it's currently going for 2 exalts. Wow. They're cheap. Plus 6 weapons you can probably find for a few exalts. They're cheap. Some armor, some life, some resistances gear. They're cheap. You can probably get this going for like less than 100 exalts. It's that easy. And from level 65 and onwards, you should be able to level with this. That's what I've been doing. Oh yeah, the gems, before I end this video. So we'll have Shockwave Totem, Tawhoa Tending, Great Wood, level 2, Efficiency, if you want. You can replace it with Magnified Area and Armor Break, if you really want instead. Brutality Free, and Font of Blood. The most important ones are obviously Tawhoa's Ending, Great Wood, and Font of Blood to get this going. Brutality and Efficiency is much later on. I also have an aura down here, Time of Need, just to remove curses and ailments on myself. Link to Compressed Duration for less skill effect duration, so this procs more often. Warm-Blooded for less freeze duration. It's you get frozen every now and then, although I have the Falling Charm, so this reduces the freeze duration. Vitality 2, just for some life regeneration. And Strong-Hearted for less shock duration on me. This doesn't really do anything either, but it's something. That was the guide. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.